Kurunji Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
Free bus for LKG to 8th standard.
Free, hygienic and nutritious food.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
Kurunji Education Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurunjischoolnkl.in.
In our last class, we discussed what is Newton's second law of motion, right? So, according to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the external force acting on a body and acts along the direction in which a body is in motion. So, according to the mathematical, you can say that dp by dt is directly proportional to f. So, there will be some proportional constant. If the proportional constant is equal to 1, then you can say that f is equal to dp by dt, that is d by dt of mv, then m into dv by dt. So, finally, f is equal to ma. So, f is equal to ma is the mathematical form of Newton's second law of motion, that is force is the product of mass and acceleration. Okay. So, there itself we discussed SI unit, CGS unit, and the force is scalar or vector. So, the details of force we discussed along with some of the examples, right, related to Newton's second law of motion also we discussed, right. In continuation to that class, now we are going to discuss some example problems. After example problems, we are going to discuss the continuation topics to that Newton's second law of motion, right. Now, we are going through the example 5.2. See here, a bullet of mass 0.04 kg moving with a speed of 90 meters per second enters a heavy wooden block and is stopped after a distance of 60 centimeters, full stop. What is the average resistive force exerted by the block on the bullet? What is the average resistive force exerted by the block on the bullet, right? Okay. See here. So, I will repeat once again the problem. So, please be concentrate. A bullet of mass 0.04 kg moving with a speed of 90 meters per second enters a heavy wooden block and is stopped after a distance of 60 centimeters, full stop. What is the average resistive force exerted by the block on the bullet, right? So, first we are going to calculate the retardation. If you understood the problem clearly, so the problem is saying the velocity or the speed of the block is going to decrease, so that the bullet is said to be in retarding motion. So, simply it is in retardation. So, now first we are going to calculate the retardation from second equation of motion, that is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. V square minus u square is equal to 2as. A is equal to, because v is equal to 0. So, when a body is in when a body is in retarded motion, then the final velocity will become 0, right. Then A is equal to minus u square by 2s, that is equal to minus 90 into 90 divided by 2 into 0.6. 2 into 0.6. That is equal to minus 6750 meter per second square. If you observe carefully, we calculated A, but it came in minus. It came in negative. It is minus. Then what is? So it is the body is in retardation. When a body is in retardation, the acceleration is negative. So A is equal to minus 6750 meter per second square. So A is available in plus means it is acceleration. A is available in minus means it is retardation. Okay, right. But in this problem, our aim is our task is to calculate the average resistive force. You know very well from Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to ma. So mass is 0.04 kg already given, and next this is what 6750. So finally it will become as 270 newtons. 270 newtons. The actual resistive force, and therefore retardation of the bullet may not be uniform. The actual resistive force and therefore the retardation of the bullet may not be uniform. So the answer therefore only indicates the average resistive force. Okay. So here the motion of the bullet is not uniform. The bullet may not be in uniform motion. That is the reason here it is average resistive force. Average resistive force, right? Okay. Next problem. See this. Example 5.3. The motion of a particle of mass m, small m, is described by y is equal to ut plus of gt square. Find the force acting on the particle. Find the force acting on the particle. Okay, right. You know very well from Newton's second law of motion. You know very well. Kinematics second equation of motion. From kinematics second equation of motion, S is equal to ut plus of at square. So there are 4 equations. Generally this we are calling it as second equation of motion. So from that equation of motion you can write y is equal to ut plus of gt square. Y is equal to ut plus of gt square. Now you know very well velocity is the rate of change of displacement. That is equal to u plus gt. Right, u plus gt. Okay, so this you can write it as no. So you just differentiate this with respect to time. So already we know it is y. It is indicating the vertical motion. Right? Y is equal to ut plus of gt square. So here dv by dt. If we differentiate the above equation with respect to time, we are getting u plus gt. And you know very well acceleration A is equal to dv by dt, that is equal to small g here in this problem. So when A is equal to g, you can write it as like this, then the force is given by F is equal to ma, that is equal to mg. Thus the given equation describes the motion of a particle under acceleration due to gravity. Thus the given equation describes the motion of a particle under acceleration due to gravity, and y is the position coordinate in the direction of g. Y is the position coordinate in the direction of g. So in this problem, what he is asking to find? Asking to find force acting on the particle. So what is the force acting on the particle? F is equal to ma, that is equal to mg. Right? Okay, next. The given equation describes the motion of a particle under acceleration due to gravity, and y is the position coordinate in the direction of g. Y is the position coordinate in the direction of g. Okay, right. Next continuation topic, impulse. Right. So it is a new quantity in our discussion, but it is the important quantity. I will explain you what is impulse and where we come across this quantity in our daily life. Okay, right. Before entering into the topic, what is the definition of impulse, what is the SI unit, what is the CGS unit, what is the dimensional formula, whether it is scalar or vector, what is the formula. So these are the details about any physical quantity. Before entering into the details of definition and related things, first I will tell you the examples where we come across impulse in our daily life. Okay, right. For example, two persons are jumping from certain height to the floor. For example, say maybe 2 meters, okay, or 3 meters height. So two persons, two students or two boys, whoever they may be, they are jumping from their own different positions, like from here one boy and from here one boy, but it is 3 meters. So from 3 meters height they are going to jump. So here for first person or first boy, so here we pour some sand, but for second boy we didn't pour anything here, so it is just like ordinary floor. So when these two boys jumps from here to there, what happens? The absolute answer is the first boy will not hurt, so will not get more damage to their foot or to their legs. Okay, in case of second boy, he has to hurt more, so the damage will be more for second boy. Okay, right. So why here less damage, here more damage? Right. The difference is here we pour some sand molecules, we pour some sand here, but here nothing, ordinary floor. Right. Then after, what is our observation? Okay. So they are jumping from same height, so that in the chapter motion in a straight line, we calculated the final velocity of a freely falling body. So final velocity of a freely falling body, the formula is V is equal to square root of 2gh. G is same at the same point, because they are jumping so one from this place one by, this place one by. So in this place there is no change in the G, right? That's why G value is also same. 2 is a constant. H is also same. Suppose he is jumping from 3 meters, he is also jumping from 3 meters. So the final velocity attained by both the boys just before touching the ground is same. Then why he is getting, the second boy is hurting more, second boy hurt more, but first boy is not going to hurt, so he won't get any damage, means little damage or sometimes no damage. So what is the difference? So when final velocity is same, you know the formula from second law, Newton's second law of motion for force, that is F is equal to mv by t. F is equal to mv by t. So here m is same, because you just imagine both the boys are having mass of 40 kg and 40 kg. So m is also same, v is also same, but there is a difference in time. But here time means, don't think that the time taken by both the boys from here to there, Here time means time of action, right? So when they are going to reach the ground, after reaching the ground or just before reaching the ground, the time taken by them, so it is a matter of seconds and fraction of seconds, right? So when they are going to reach the ground, so the first boy takes more time to touch the ground because of sand, but the second boy takes less time to reach the ground, and it's completed instantaneously or suddenly or very, very less amount of time when compared to the first boy, right? In both the cases, the change in momentum is also same, but the first boy is not going to hurt, but the second boy hurts a lot when compared to the first boy. So here time will be different. You know very well, when the time is less, force will be more, because F is equal to mv by t. F is equal to mv by t. if t is less, time of action, the time will be different. The time taken by them to fall from their jumping point to the ground, that will be time of descent. I am not talking about time of descent here. I am talking about time of action just before reaching the ground, to the ground. Okay, right. So because f is equal to mv by t, if t is less, right, then f will be more. Similarly, if t will be more, f will be less. F will be less. Okay, right. So here itself, right. So now I explained one example clearly. I explained one example clearly, right. Now I am going for another example, right. I will tell you what is another example. I already spoke about this example in our last class, but here I need to repeat once again. Okay, right. When we are playing cricket, while catching a ball, we may observe that the player who is going to catch the ball, or while catching the ball, just immediately after catching the ball with his hands, he will pull his hands backwards. What is the reason? This is the reason. Impulse is the reason. Just because of pulling his hands backwards, he is increasing the time of action, so that the magnitude of force will be decreased. Right? So time of action will be increased, magnitude of force will be decreased, so that he won't get more damage to his hands, right. So now I explained you two examples. One example is jumping of two boys from same height having same mass onto the floor, and another one is a cricket player while catching a ball. In these two examples, there are many examples, but I took two examples, right. In these two examples, we are getting the importance of impulse. Okay, right. Now we are going for definition. Say this: the product of force and time, which is change in momentum of the body, remains a measurable quantity. The product of force and time, which is the change in momentum of the body, remains a measurable quantity, right. So here force and time, we have to take the product of force and time, which is the measurable quantity he is saying, right. So impulse is equal to force into time, that is equal to mv minus mu, that is equal to change in momentum, okay, right. Now what is the SI unit? Because I is equal to F into T, no. So SI unit is Newton second. Next, what is the CGS unit? Dyne second. For force, SI unit is Newton. For time, SI unit is second. So that SI unit of impulse is Newton second and CGS unit of impulse is Dyne second. Okay, right. Next, dimensional formula. So what is the dimensional formula of impulse? It is m power 1, L power 1, T power minus 1. M power 1, L power 1, T power minus 1, which is the dimensional formula of impulse. Okay. So it is what here it is the dimensional formula of impulse. And one more thing, impulse is a vector quantity. So what is the direction of impulse? Because here it is the change in momentum. So whatever the direction of momentum here, based on that we will decide the direction of impulsive force. You can also call it as impulsive force. So what is the impulsive force here? The force which is involved while calculating the impulse is called as impulsive force. Okay, right. Next point. A large force acting for a short time, a large force acting for a short time to produce a finite change in momentum is called an impulsive force. A large force acting for a short time, a large force acting for a short time to produce a finite change in momentum, finite change in momentum is called an impulsive force, right? See, observe carefully. Every word, every line is important here. Next, according to Newtonian mechanics, so where we are in a discussion about Newton's laws now. So Newton's first law, Newton's second law, and now we are going to discuss Newton's third law also, right? According to Newtonian mechanics, impulsive force is like any other force except that it is large and acts for a short time, right? Impulsive force is like any other force except that it is large and acts for a short time. So these two things, either this point or this point, talking about nature of force, right? Talking about nature of force. Okay, now based on the impulse, we are going to discuss one example problem, right? See that a batsman hits back a ball straight in the direction of the bowler without changing its initial speed of 12 meters per second. Okay, right. If the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg, if the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg, determine the impulse imparted to the ball, right? Assume linear motion of the ball. Assume linear motion of the ball. So in which direction the ball is coming? In which direction the ball came to reach the batsman? In the same direction it goes back. It went back, right? So I will repeat once again the example problem. A batsman hits back a ball straight in the direction of the bowler without changing its initial speed of 12 meters per second. Okay. If the mass of the ball is 0.15 kg, determine the impulse imparted to the ball, right? Assume linear motion of the ball. Assume the linear motion of the ball. So the ball is moving in a straight line, either while coming to reach the batsman, after hitting by the bat also, right? Okay, see this. Impulse is equal to force into time. Already we know that is equal to change in momentum. That is equal to change in momentum. See here. So 0.15 into 12 minus of minus. So here direction is very important, ma. So mv minus mu. Actually mv minus mu. But here u is also taken as minus. U is also taken as minus because suppose here is a bowler, here is a batsman, right? Then automatically the ball is coming like this, means the ball is moving along negative x-axis, so that minus of minus 0.15 into 12 because it is the mass, mv minus mu, mv minus mu. So this is the speed, 0.15 is the mass in both the cases, because here also m, here also m, here it is v, here it is u. But according to the question, he told that without changing its initial speed of 12 meters per second. So when the ball is going from here to there, also traveled with 12 meters per second, and when it is coming from batsman to the bowler, also it's traveled with 12 meters per second. So finally we do the mathematical process. If we complete the mathematical operation here, you will get it as 3.6 Newton second. 3.6 Newton second. So direction also given here, ma, that is batsman to bowler. Batsman to bowler. So we calculated impulse. Okay, right. Now our next discussion is Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion. Okay, right. See this. According to Newtonian mechanics, force never occurs singly. So single, right? According to Newtonian mechanics, force never occurs in single in this universe or in this nature. In the nature, force never occurs single. Okay, right. Next sentence. Force is the mutual interaction. Force is the mutual interaction between the two bodies. Force always occur in pairs. Force always occur in pairs. I'll tell you one best example here itself, because to support this statement or to understand this statement, I'll give you one best example. Suppose you are standing on the ground. Okay, right. When you are standing on the ground, what will happen? You have some mass. What is mass? You know, quantity of matter contained in a body. Okay, when you are standing on the ground, right? So you have certain mass, right? So because of this mass and some force according to Newton's law of gravitation, right? You are standing on earth, so earth will attract you towards its center with certain amount of force. Because of this, you have some weight. So it will be vertically in downward direction. What I am saying is, suppose if only that force is acting on you, you have to insert into the ground. But it is not happening. So what's happening? You are there only. You are not going anywhere, which is like moving inside to the earth. So what is the reason? So the reason you have to imagine. So the earth is also applying some force on you. So when you are applying some force on the earth, that is because of your weight. Earth is also applying some force on you in opposite direction, exactly in opposite direction. So that these two forces, one force is your weight, that you can also call it as like gravitational force. Another force is normal force, that is because of surface, of earth, Another one is normal force. So when this force, that is weight and normal force, both are acting in opposite direction, equal in magnitude, then automatically both will cancel each other and you won't insert into the ground. At the same time, you won't float. You won't move in upward direction also, vertically upward direction also. So you won't go in vertically downward direction because of weight. You won't go in vertically upward direction because of normal force. When weight is balanced by the normal force completely. So the magnitude of weight and the magnitude of normal force both are equal in magnitude and acting in opposite direction. Okay, right. Next, see here some other information related to Newton's third law of motion. Okay, right. See here. Further, the mutual forces between two bodies. Are always equal and opposite. Okay, right. This idea was expressed by Newton in the form of third law of motion. What is the idea? Force doesn't always occurs in single in this nature. Next one is force is the mutual interaction between two bodies. Next one is forces always occur in phase. So these type of ideas led to give a statement, that is Newton's third law of motion. So what is the statement? See here, to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. To every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, this is the statement of Newton's third law of motion. Okay, right. Next, here two forces are there, no, because every action is a force and reaction is also force, right? So that there are two things, one is action force, another one is reaction force. So the term action and reaction in the third law means nothing else but force. Using different terms for the same physical concept, right? For the same physical concept can sometimes be confusing, because same terms means that side also force, this side also force, right? So here a simple and clear, right? A simple and clear way of understanding, right? And a simple and clear way of stating the third law is as follows. So what is that? Forces always occurs in pairs. Force on a, suppose we are taking a small example to discuss Newton's third law of motion. Suppose there are two bodies, A and B. So first A body rests on a horizontal surface, so which is rough surface. So why I am saying this is rough surface means, because of the roughness of a surface, this block A won't move in horizontal direction either towards left or right or some other direction, right? It will be there only. So almost it is like it is in the state of rest. A is in the state of rest. At the same time, we kept B on A. Okay. So when we kept B on A, here B is also not moving anywhere. It is there only. Okay. Right. It is there only. Okay. It is there only. So here what I am saying is, when force acting on B by A, otherwise force on a body A by B is equal and opposite to the force on the body B by A, right? You can see the picture. You can also write FA is equal to minus FB. Okay, right. So in today's class we discussed some example problems, and next most important quantity, impulse, and then Newton's third law of motion, right? So in the coming class we will come with some other examples of Newton's third law of motion in our daily life.